This will call council into regular session at 7:04 p.m. If you will, please rise for the invocation and pledge. The invocation will be led by Councilman Chick, followed by the pledge by Councilwoman Bear.
Bow your heads and pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for this great country. Thank you for this great state, this great city. Pray that you guide us for everybody that's working for the citizens of this city. Just be with us, guide us, and direct us tonight. We thank you in Christ's name we pray. Amen.
If you'll turn and face the flags, I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. The next item on our agenda, as usual, is our citizens input time, where we invite anyone who would like to speak. Normally it's limited to around 3 minutes on any item that you'd like to speak on. We, as council, cannot deliberate on that item because it's not a posted agenda item, but we can be all ears, as can staff. So we invite anybody who'd like to do that to do so. I do have one form completed here, and if anybody else would like to speak, they're welcome to come up, state their name and address for the record, and then fill a form out for us later in the evening just for the city secretary's records. So having said that, I'd invite Vince Handler to the podium and let him share a visit with us. We look forward to it.
Good evening. My name is Vince Handler. I live at 7409 Brushy-Meadow Trail in Aubrey. I appeared before this council a few months ago to introduce myself and to announce my campaign for candidacy as Justice of the Peace. And tonight I'm here to provide an important campaign update and to briefly explain why many across Denton County believe I am the strongest candidate in this race. My campaign has now earned more than 100 endorsements from respected community leaders who are trusted by our residents, including Congressman Brandon Gill, Sheriff Tracy Murphy, multiple Texas legislators, mayors, town and city council members, and organizations. That level of support reflects broad confidence in my experience, my ability to exercise sound judgment, and my commitment to impactful public service. Justice of the Peace Court is where many residents encounter our legal system, often without an attorney. In that setting, proven experience matters a great deal. The Justice of the Peace is a full-time responsibility, and my full professional focus, 100% of it, will be exclusively devoted to serving the court and our community from day one. I have a detailed and practical plans to significantly improve the court's efficiency and value through a disciplined, outcomes-focused revision of the court's internal procedures, clearer and more substantive resources available to litigants, and increased use of technology and information systems to provide great customer service that continually exceeds expectations. Election Day is March 3rd, with early voting beginning in just 28 days on February 17th. Now, I'm not the only name on the ballot, but I am the only candidate with a law degree. I'm the only candidate with 12 years of Justice of the Peace Court experience. I'm the only candidate with 20 years of military service, and the only candidate actively engaged in community volunteering. Those experiences shape how I approach decision making, carefully, fairly, and with respect for every person who would appear before the court. So I respectfully ask for your consideration and support. I would be honored to earn the personal endorsement of the members of this council because you serve this community directly, and your trust means a great deal to me and the voters that you represent. At the end of the day, my goal is simple, is to serve with integrity, impartiality, and consistency, and to ensure that every case that comes before the court is handled fairly and according to the law. So you can visit handlerforjudge.com for campaign and endorsement updates. So thank you for your time, thank you for your service, and God bless.
Great. Thanks for coming out. We
you.
appreciate the update.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to speak during the citizens input time? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on then. And I think we've got some of our fire representatives back there now. So we'll move to the special presentations and announcements. We're always excited to have the American Legion out here to do their presentation of our fireman, paramedic, and police officer of the year. We appreciate your involvement in that process, and we appreciate your interest in highlighting a few of the important folks that serve our community in a special way that police and fire do. And we appreciate the time y'all spend going through the process and bringing this to the public.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor, City Council, City staff, police officers present, firefighters present, my fellow American Legion members, and all the guests who are present. My name is Clint Smith. I'm the adjutant for Sanger American Legion Post 268. And together with our American Legion Riders group, we would like to present the 2025 Police Officer of the Year and the 2025 Firefighter of the Year for the City of Sanger. This will be the 5th year that we have presented this award. In a letter from Chief Cheek of the Sanger Police Department, he states, I want to nominate Officer Timothy Morton for the 2025 Sanger Police Department Officer of the Year. There are a handful of reasons that I would like to nominate him. Tim has expressed interest in the community service officer position since it was first mentioned. In this past year, he has attended several classes and obtained a recognized certification as a crime prevention officer without any promise of being selected as the CSO when it is posted. The biggest reason why I would like to nominate him, however, is how he handled a call last December after the previous Officer of the Year selection. On December 23rd, 2024, Officer Morton was dispatched to a welfare concern on the View Road overpass of IH-35. Dispatch advised that a person was sitting on the bridge wall with their back to the drop-off to the interstate and that a truck was parked about 100 yards away. Officer Mark Matina was dispatched as a cover officer just before Officer Morton arrived at the bridge. When Officer Morton arrived at the bridge, he requested more units and less than 30 seconds later, radioed that the person was trying to jump off the bridge. Officer Matina arrived about 4 minutes after Officer Morton, and I arrived about 1 minute later. When I arrived, I observed that the person who was the subject of this welfare concern was in custody and was a local mental health consumer who had battled suicidal ideations for some time and had previously attempted suicide. Officer Morton advised me that the person had tried to jump off the bridge and he struggled with them to get them into custody. The person was taken into protective custody and transported to the hospital for evaluation and treatment. When I reviewed the video later, I observed that Officer Morton arrived at the bridge, exited his vehicle, and approached the person. As he gets to the person swings one leg over the bridge rail, starting the process to turn to go over the side of the overpass onto the highway and traffic below. Officer Morton grabbed the person's arm and then their head and held on to them, preventing them from going over the bridge. You can see in the video the person pulling against Officer Morton from the bridge and Officer Morton struggling with them for nearly a full minute before being able to gain leverage to pull them off the railing and onto the bridge deck, where he told them for another 3 full minutes, or where he held them, for another 3 full minutes as they struggled until 2 private citizens stopped. Officer Matina arrived and assisted in getting the person into handcuffs. A full 4 minutes after Officer Morton made initial physical contact with the person. The actions of Officer Morton undoubtedly saved the life of the victim, who was intent on ending her life that day. For these reasons, I believe Officer Morton is deserving of the Officer of the Year, along with other commendations associated with this event. Officer Morton. Our Commander, Thomas Atkins, will present the Police Officer of the Year for 2025.
This is American Legion Post 268, Sanger, Texas, presents 2025 Law Enforcement Officer of the Year, Timothy Morton. Thank you for your dedication in protecting and serving our community. So thank you.
Thank you. That's a great story. I appreciate the detail with which Chief has put down the details and outlined the extraordinary efforts of our officer and what he went through. I don't think any of us would want to be in that position to have to hold that and wrestle around. So I appreciate the efforts, and nothing more precious than a life. And if we get to save a life out there, that's valuable. We appreciate it. Thank you for your efforts.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Next.
Lieutenant Lewis actually did that right.
Who did that?
Lieutenant Lewis.
All right. Well,
Okay.
very good.
Our next 2025 is the Firefighter of the Year. Roddy Whited will be the Firefighter of the Year as chosen by the Sanger Fire Department. Rowdy has done a great job learning and utilizing our new software for checking off the trucks. He also helps keep all the trucks and equipment up to date in this software. He assists Lieutenant Parsons with any changes that need to be made with the current rookie book, and Rowdy helped build the book for this department. Rowdy also assists Lieutenant Pierce with the EMS supply room and is about to take the supply room over and does a good job making sure the supplies are within the correct dates and we have all the EMS supplies we need. Rowdy has gone above and beyond in a lot of different areas to help out the department. This being in the field and things that need to be done around the fire station. The Firefighter of the Year for 2025, Rowdy Whited, be presented by our Vice Commander.
Unfortunately, Madison is still in for Rowdy is out of town as a pre-scheduled event on vacation, so.
Okay.
I apologize for that.
I'm glad they said that.
Thank you for allowing us to present these awards, and we look forward to doing the same next year.
You bet. We
Thank
look
you.
forward
Thank
to it too. Thank you for taking the effort to bring it to the public. I think it's interesting, we have one that's on the field, in the field type of example, and one where service is done just by the small deeds every day in the fire department, the extra things probably that the other guys don't want to do, paperwork and stuff, right? But that just goes above and beyond, and I'm appreciative of both of those. It takes everything to get it done, and we appreciate our police and fire for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. It's always nice to see our guys recognized. So I appreciate American Legion for doing that. That brings us to another one of our departments, the library department, here to give an annual update of their activities. I know they stay busy. I had seen a post, I'll just preface it with this, seen a post where a visitor, their family is a longtime resident of Sanger, but they had moved away and they were back with their kiddos and went to a library event and were just commenting online. I saw it on a social media post. Sure wished that our library where we moved to had what Sanger's got. So it was a nice, uninvited, just great comment out there in the social media world. And it's always nice to see those things come through. So I appreciate y'all's work.
Oh, thank you so much. Good evening, Council and Mayor. I'm giving an update here about the library, and like Mayor said, we've been very busy. We've been very busy bees, and but it couldn't be without my absolutely magnificent staff. There we are at TLA, down at the bottom there. We were able to go to conference and get a lot of education and a lot of networking going, and then that's our 55th birthday. So it was a very exciting time. We had a lot of patrons. We had a birthday cake, and I wasn't sure what we were going to do just to celebrate the birthday. But we had a lot of people show up and celebrate with us and have cake, and it was a great time. We had a lovely time. So, but these are some of my staff here, and they are so incredibly talented and smart and just know how to work with people and have the best customer service experience. We strive for that. We may not have every book known to man in the library, but what we do have is we have amazing people. We have the ability to give amazing experience to everybody, and all of our patrons really appreciate the one-on-one attention that we can give them that not a lot of other libraries, especially larger libraries, you'd be kind of creeped out. I think if people knew you by name and what you'd like to read. But we really love serving people, and we've talked to a lot of our patrons, and they tell us that the other libraries in our consortium, we have our winter reading and summer reading program. We have what's called a passport. And what we do is families can go to each library in our consortium. We have 6 other libraries, and they can get a stamp on their passport. And so a lot of them have had a lot of opportunities to go to all the different libraries. We have one that is far south to Alvarado, which if you ever do happen to be down in Alvarado, go visit the library, say hello to people, and have some fantastic barbecue. There is this awesome barbecue joint down there, and so a couple of our patrons, we talk about barbecue and everything, but they have gone around all of the libraries, and they said that we have now got it to where everyone else is trying to up their game now to kind of match the kind of customer service and the kind of programming that we do here at the library. So we have traditional services for everybody, books, movies, educational devices, meeting space, copiers, printers, and yes, still fax machines. And we've got public computers and free Wi-Fi, and we also have hotspots that a lot of our community check out. It's so incredibly important for people to have access to the internet to do all the things. And then we have a library of things which have some STEM kits, board games, trash pickup kits, cognitive care kits. So we're more than just books. I really love to think of the library as the living room of the town here in Sanger. And you do a lot of fun things in your living room. You read a book, you watch a movie, you kind of dance, you play board games, you eat in your living room, and so we get to do all of that in our space, and so we really appreciate and really like it. And so we have preschool story time, elementary programs, teen programs, adult programs, and a whole bunch of different services that kind of run the gamut. So we've been real excited about that, and to be able to continue to offer services that are at a medium or large size library. So some of these are some of the pictures that we've had of our events. This is our kickoff event with the Ramzini's 2-person circus. And then down at the very bottom we had a creature group come in, and they brought every single creature known to man. We had a sugar glider flying from from down below, and the kids got to pet all of the animals, which was really fantastic. And there's some other big programs that we had. We had a Taylor Swift party, and so that was a lot of fun, and so we were able to have some giveaways, and so that's all the giveaways that we had, and we played some music and made friendship bracelets and traded things with each other. And one of the things that's been really popular has been our book bricks. So that's in the corner over there. And then we've had a lot of really great opportunities to work with other departments to not only promote what we do at the library, but promote what they do too, and get a better sense of what goes on. So the trash truck came, and everybody got to visit with the trash truck, and that was really great. Then we had our own fire department, and then we've had other different things as well. Hang on a second, flicking here. And then these are just some other programs that we've had. We had an author event last August with Amanda Churchill, who's local to North Texas, and she came, and we had a really interesting discussion about her book, and she told us about where she found her inspiration, which was from her grandmother, who was a Japanese war bride. We got a puzzle race and our Candyland Grinch theme this year. And then again, some more programs. We have Officer Morton, who got honored tonight, and he came and helped us. We did a chef's battle with teens, and we needed somebody to taste their, so it was kind of like Chopped. And so the kids got to assemble different things and make and everything, and so he got to taste some of their creative culinary creations. And so we've really had a really fantastic time, and our patrons really love what we do. So we're just going to talk about program statistics, and just what my basis has always been since I was promoted to this position, just to find some consistency amongst what we do, and to really use that as a way to build a solid foundation. And we've done a really fantastic job of doing that, and making sure that we have consistent scheduled posts, and using Facebook events, and encouraging our patrons to comment and share pictures, and then to also show pictures of what we do, because it's real easy to just make a boring flyer, but if nobody knows what you're doing and you don't actually see what's going on, you're only doing half the job. So with this slide, we had enormous growth over the last fiscal year compared to the previous fiscal year of 23-24. We doubled our programming for ages 6 to 11. We found that our Friday, with the school being closed and everything, we were getting so much interest in what we were doing on Fridays that we actually had to make 2 sessions for a lot of things. And then we had some other programs like Stuffed Animal Sleepover, and then had a period party. And it's such huge engagement in there that we had to rotate people out, in and out on the fly. And our patrons are very understanding and loving to us, and didn't mind waiting around. But we just continue to increase our numbers. Right now we're in a place that we need to kind of try to maintain the growth that we have. Can't really do a whole lot more with the growing unless we get a bigger building, or we really start swapping more and getting more turnover with more programs like we had been doing. And then our program attendance also has just skyrocketed. Some of the areas that we're dealing with now, and I'll talk a little bit more about some of the challenges that we are, but in relation to our program numbers and our programming stats, teens are really hard. The 6th grade center has moved over, so we're not getting that captured audience. But it's really kind of the unicorn of library land. I'm a nerd. When I go on vacation, I visit other libraries, and I'll talk to teen librarians and everything, and they all struggle with capturing that audience and engaging with teens. It's something that's still very much a priority, but it's also can be kind of a unicorn. And then these are just the library visits by month and year, and we just continue to see a lot of trends where we kind of take a break, and then things kind of climb back up, and then summer's our highest hit point. Right now we're kind of try to add more programming from other vendors and other people to come in on some of the times where we're kind of staff's taking a break, because they manage a lot of our programming, but we're also trying to find ways to continue to add value and bring more programming in. And then just our social media marketing's just been continuing to climb. 24% increase from last year and 25% increase in likes. We're really having some difficulty with Instagram, but we find a lot of libraries that follow us on Instagram, and we were trying to use that as a way to get to teens, but yeah, Instagram's really not, I'm finding that that's really not resonating with most of our people. Most of our people are Facebook people. But yeah, it's been very helpful with our social media marketing, with bringing people in and letting them know what we do. And then this is just our material circulation by month, and you can see where the high spikes there are usually typically in summer. So we're getting right back or just over where we were back in 2019, and we're going to try to continue with that as we go along. And then just patron savings, we've saved patrons, and this is just materials. We're working on figuring out the return on investment for programs, but it's been over $535,000 over half.
So do y'all look at the price of the book and say, okay, we checked this many things out that would have cost somebody this?
Mm-hmm. So if anyone were to actually go out and purchase these,
Right.
yeah. And then some challenges, like I was saying, right now, a lot of libraries are dealing with some difficulties with book ordering. We've had some library supply chain issues. One of our largest book wholesalers has gone out of business. So it's creating like a huge pile up as to where vendors and everything. So we're finding ways to kind of address that, but we're still having some difficulties with that. So, but everybody is kind of feeling the squeeze and trying to find other ways of handling that. And some other vendors have reached out to us, and we're having discussions with them. And then building constraints. So like I was talking to y'all before, we're offering 2 sessions for a lot of things. And sometimes had to cycle patrons in and out just to make room for everything. And then right now, the collection as it is, it's kind of at its max. We're working on ways to evaluate how the space is being used based on circulation statistics. So something that has higher circulation should have more floor space. Right now we have a back wall of DVDs and we don't get a whole lot of circulation. So we're trying to find ways to repurpose that area to kind of get us through some of these building constraints that we have, and kind of find ways to think outside the box. And so we're just continuing to work through that, but we're just excited to be able to help the community and have some fun along with it. And what we've got next is we've got more community outreach. We've done some things with Sanger ISD and the Purple Bus. We've done several different food drives, clothing drives for the Sanger Crisis Center. We had the Tarrant Area Food Bank come out and do some mobile pantries with us. And the Denton County Public Health also came out to help those who may need help applying for WIC. And then we, of course, have the volunteer income tax assistance through the United Way. And we've got an Excel High School program that allows people to earn their high school diploma online through the library. The library gives scholarships. So right now I have 3 students that are in that program right now at different times of completion, and so I'm hoping to get someone completed fairly soon, and we can have a graduation ceremony. And then we've got summer reading that's coming up, and then a whole bunch of interesting guest performers and instructors lined up, and then a virtual author visit in August, and then we just finished our winter reading program for this year, for this short holiday season. We just did some drawing raffles for the prizes today. So, you all have any questions? Is there anything else that I can talk to y'all about, or anything?
Yeah, I had a couple. I told you I would.
You always do.
Well,
First off, I'm very happy to see the participation because I don't know if you'll ever get there, but more and more paper books, or everybody wants digital, and I hope that we're not just one day going to be a digital library. So seeing kids starting, and this is, the young kids are probably going to be the only ones as they get older. They're not getting books. They're doing everything on a phone or a tablet or a computer. So that's very encouraging. One thing jumped out at me though, the hotspot for rent. Can you tell me what that is?
Yeah, so we have T-Mobile hotspots that have Wi-Fi, and so we check them out. We have 10 of them, and so they go out pretty regularly for a 2-week period with 1-week renewal. If no one is in line for the hotspot, which quite often they are, then they can be renewed again. But oftentimes they can't because someone else is in line. So it's been quite a successful program. We started that initially through some ECF funds through the federal government, and they helped subsidize that during COVID. And so we use that to kind of jumpstart things, but we found that people still really need that connectivity, and we've got some people in particular areas out in Bolivar that with all that construction on 455, a lot of them were without internet. We also have a few people that need it quite regularly, and so they've come and know that they can come to the library and get a hotspot to be able to check out, to be able to connect and check email or fill out resumes or do whatever business that they need to do.
But is an internet provider that donated those? Did we purchase them? Who pays for the service?
So initially we started that with the federal
Right,
funds and getting that subsidy, but now it's part of my budget.
Okay.
So
And it's primarily going, I mean, is it going to rural areas, kids, and you mentioned some of those. I mean, you don't have business owners coming and checking.
yes, we do
you?
have some business owners that do. Some people that know that they're going to be traveling for business and not sure what their situation is going to be with Wi-Fi that have used it in airports. We've had some other people that are business owners that have needed to use it. We've had people that are new to the area. Our requirement is that they were able to have a card for 3 months before they check the hotspot out. So some of them are newer residents that have waited that 3-month waiting period and been able to check things out. A lot of them are stay-at-home moms that need access as well. So it runs the gamut from who we serve.
I would think demand would exceed the 10 units that you have. I mean,
If I could get more and be able to negotiate a lower price, I would most certainly do
yeah, I
that.
bet. I didn't know we are. So, but the next time you have cake, could you give us? Goodness. Who's gonna pass up cake?
Yeah, sure. You'll be the first one on my speed dial.
Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. We really appreciate the opportunity. Oh, yes.
I was going to ask something. I love everything you're doing. I know this would cost more money, and I don't know if it's something down the line. I haven't gotten a chance to go over there and see it, but a buddy was telling me the other day at the Denton Library, one thing they're doing offer kids and entice kids to come in more is they've gotten 3D printers and laser etch machines.
yeah.
And they're actually teaching kids how to do it, and if they sign up for a membership, they can go in there and they can learn to do. And I know neither one of those things are cheap, but I just thought it was really cool, and I've been thinking about taking my kids over there and checking it out.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic to be able to have that as a service. That's something that we've been looking at for a long time, and I had a community member who grew up in Sanger, whose friend passed away, and she was willing to maybe think about donating some funds for a maker space if we were to have some space. We're always running into building constraints, and then right now, I think a lot of the 3D printers now are like a little bit more set it and forget it than they used to be. Before it was like if you moved it a few inches over, you might need to, rebalance the plate and do all of these kinds of things. So that's definitely something that we're looking to, and we're trying to find ways that we can squeeze more room out of the meeting room and getting more furniture to help us kind of with that. So that's always something on my mind, and I'm trying to find other ways that will allow for maker things. In fact, right now, looking at getting something called a chomp saw, which is you use cardboard, and it's kind of like a router, but it's safe for children like 5 and up. And so it was a Shark Tank thing, and I was up late one night and was going through YouTube and saw it. But it was, but it's really kind of neat, and so the kids can draw and cut out their own shapes. So I thought that that might be something that we might want to do, and maybe do like a cosplay kind of thing or something like that, or just have an opportunity for kids to be able to do something fun. So that's something that we're looking into. So yeah, we'll definitely have some maker things. It might just not be to the level of Denton quite yet until we get some more room.
Okay. Very cool. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Lauren.
Thank you, appreciate it. It's always fun to see the creativity over there and what all y'all do.
Oh goodness, we need news from.
Okay, council, that brings us to our consent agenda. We've got minutes of January 5. We've got the Hill claim item. You've got facility use agreements with softball and youth sports. And you've got a real estate marketing agreement for the sale of property. As always, we can pull any item that you'd like to pull and discuss it further, or we can consider any residual items in bulk from the consent agenda. What's your pleasure on items on the consent?
Can we pull 6?
Yes, we can.
And 7, please.
6 and 7.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, that leaves items 1 through 5. Any other item need to be pulled?
3 through 5. I make a motion we approve consent agenda item 3, 4, and 5 as presented.
3, 4? Okay, got it. Do I hear a second?
Second.
So I've got a motion by Councilman Chick, seconded by Councilman Burris to approve consent agenda items as they're listed there and numbered in the agenda, item 3, 4, and 5. All in favor of approving those 3 items indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to deal with 7 next, and I think we'll save 6 to the end so that we can, because I think it's real estate related, unless it's a fairly generic question. Maybe if there's a generic, all right. Maybe save it to the end, that way if we need to go executive session, since it's real estate, we can. Unless you, I don't know the nature of your question. You want to, if it's basic, then we maybe deal with it. I mean, any
Was this
indication?
dealing with the previous of last meeting's stuff?
Some stuff. We probably should just save it, and I'll pick it up in executive session at the tail end.
I just wasn't
Okay?
sure of the detail.
Yeah, no, it's good. So we'll come back to 6 a little bit later and pick it up. In the interest of everybody that's here in attendance, we can move forward on the items that require potentially public input and such. So I'll take item 7 there, consideration of possible action on the 2026 facility use agreement between the City of Sanger and Sanger Youth Sports Association, and authorize city manager to execute said agreement. We got Ryan here. Ryan, you want to do some introductions or
I'll entertain any questions.
the question that you got?
So as far as for the baseball fields, I've been approached by several different people in the Sanger Youth Baseball with questions. One about, I guess I'm still doing this, so I guess a couple years ago they were told they were getting new scoreboards because whenever a previous company was mowing or doing, they tore up the wires on the scoreboards and they're no longer functional. And so they asked about the scoreboards, and I don't know if you could.
The scoreboards are part of the Railroad Park remodel. A lot of you get new scoreboards, your irrigation systems all been taken to TCEQ for final approval. We were very close to the final approval. Actually, we have the final approval. Only thing that they needed was the depth of the actual scoreboards. I guess footers that go in, concrete poles that go in 10 feet. So they wanted to make sure that was taken care of. Other than that, we're we've got everything approved through TECQ to move forward with the remodel. New scoreboards are part of the remodel.
It was a much more complicated issue because of the site.
Right.
When we ran into the question of renovations, including just basic site grading, the TCEQ really laid the law down, literally, on that issue. And so that process has actually taken a lot longer than anticipated. We're well over a year into both the sampling of the site as well as the permitting for the ball field improvements and additional items that are going to be required for long-term monitoring of that site from the TCEQ.
Okay. My stepson plays out there, and I went and walked it the other day whenever I got a phone call. Another thing I saw is, I don't know when there was dirt was delivered out there and dumped and spread, but there's pretty good chunks of glass in the dirt where the kids actually play at. I've seen pretty good size glasses. I mean, some almost size of about half the size of my palm.
Wow, that's big.
You
found that?
I didn't find that. I was shown a picture of it, and I was looking through my text. I don't have the picture.
It's a collaborative effort that we're doing with the association and my staff. My staff's out there every day cleaning as much as they can. They're not finding as much as they did at the very beginning,
right,
but the efforts of the youth association is the only way we're going to be able to get that glass off the fields.
Okay. And then another thing I saw on the
we haven't been seeing a lot,
right,
so most of the stuff is we've been noticing and we pick up.
I can't remember exactly which backstop it was, but the bottom of the fence on the backstop was curled in, and my worry with that is the kid comes in hot in home plate and goes past, or catcher dives for a ball or something like that. I'm worried about him getting impaled with the fence or.
The fencing is something that Lacey brought up to us last week. We're going to hopefully come up to a partnership where we can address those issues quicker with the help of the youth association and funds from the city.
Okay. Looks like my stepson plays catcher, and the last thing I need is his mama mad at me. So, but anyways, those were my big questions. Like I said, I've been getting a couple texts here lately. One from Lacey and the new commissioner taking over, and just some questions on that.
Right.
So,
okay. I think we're doing a pretty good job to make sure the fields look pretty good. The fields are level. They're in better shape than they have been in the past. Once we get this final approval done through TCEQ, we can work on getting the rest of it taken care
they're
of.
a lot better when I played on.
So what's the anticipated timeline for all the repairs?
Like Mr. Knott said, we've been working on this one for over a year. So the last thing that they said that we needed was the depth of the pillars for the scoreboards.
Okay.
And once we have, and I sent those over to them, we should be able to finish this up soon. I don't want to rack up a time frame.
Well, I mean, that's really what citizens want, is a time frame. So, say you got approval, is it something, it's already budgeted, is it already been ordered? Is it something that can be a fairly quick turn, where weeks, months?
It's going to be based on the association's schedule. Only time that we can do maintenance, irrigation, scoreboard. We do scoreboards during the season, but irrigation and infield remodel will have to be done during the summer or in the winter.
Okay. So, I mean, we're in the winter now. We're waiting on TCEQ. We're anticipating. I'm just trying to get a timeline. Once you get
I wish I could give you one. It could be 6 more months.
okay.
Yeah.
So we may not have scoreboards for the
Until summer.
Well,
even
till
if we get
everything's
everything.
permitted, right? I mean, the process with the TCQ, they give us no definitives. With the scoreboards, the footings of the scoreboards have been in their possession probably a couple of months, since October or November of last year.
in the city's possession, or
In the TCEQ's possession. And so they're going through their typical process at their typical speed to authorize us or not. But I mean, the city has done everything that we could do prerequisite to that, to ensure that when that comes, if it comes, when that approval comes, we're able to move on that and get that done, with the exception of As Ryan has stated, a lot of those improvements won't be done during the season because it will take the fields down.
Well, but if the fence, the backstop fence is curled up, that is something that needs to be done before the season begins. I mean,
All those
fastball
things.
or balls going through the fence and going out. I mean, anything that's going to be a safety hazard.
But
it's
again,
cosmetic.
everything out there, we cannot touch anything until we were getting the TCEQ approvals. That site was not treated as a ball field site because it was not permitted correctly in the beginning. So even dugouts and fencing, everything had to go through the TCEQ to ensure we're in compliance, because it was not, to the TCEQ, it's not a ball field site. It will be, now that it's permitted. It was a landfill that may or may not have been closed correctly, and a ball field that was placed on what may or may not have been an active landfill at the time.
So I think a lot of citizens, as they've learned, has thought that if you were going to dig in the ground, that's new to me, that anything existing where it's cosmetic, I know they, at one point they wanted to put some overhead awnings, but you had to go in the ground to put posts, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
But, you know, if something happened to 10 feet of the chain link fence, you're saying that TCEQ would not let you go in there and replace that? so you
They
wouldn't be
would
able to use
Y'all
it?
did in the past. Things were done in the past that were not properly permitted with the TCEQ. So we're playing a lot of catch up to make sure that in the future, these are non-issues. But it's a tremendous issue. You know, again, we were working two sites with the same basic issues at the same time, one on utility and one that you have the ball fields on. You know, the site on utility, of course, had a different set of issues and a different set of restrictions that were very, very similar to no ground penetrations and things like that. I believe the biggest problem with the time frame of the TCEQ on some of these issues that are purely cosmetic was the fact that it wasn't permitted correctly in the first place, and TCEQ was wielding a stick to make sure that we understood that in the future, all of those things, cosmetic or not, need to be appropriately looked at by the TCEQ because of the site itself. We put ourselves in a position that this TCEQ, do it in the course of their job, made our jobs a little less efficient, you know. And again, it's no fault of the park staff or anybody we have on staff, really. It was just the situation at the time. And so most of those items, again, as soon as things are getting cleared, Ryan is proceeding at the pace that he's allowed to proceed.
So essentially, the only two things that we can do there, is mow and level the fields.
Yeah, we can't dig anything in it, you can't dig anything.
Yet.
The longest part about this process was the monitoring and making sure that the landfill was stable enough to host baseball activities. That was the longest portion of this process. Once we got those portions, there was actually two processes: getting the park recognized as with TCEQ and bringing the improvements to TCEQ for approval. So it's been two processes, and we're going through them as quick as we can, as quick as they can.
And I'm sorry, what is the acronym here? Is it TECQ?
TCEQ.
The Texas Commission on Environmental Quality.
And we are working with the Youth Association to take care of those backstop issues.
So the Youth Association can do things that we can't? Is that what I'm hearing?
No, he's talking about the financing, funding, and assisting us identify some of the problems that are not easily identified.
Okay.
I mean, and it is what it is, but I know you've got baseball and you've got softball. They see Porter Park and they think, why can't we have everything down? Eventually we'll get there. I know we're going to do that, but I mean, so like I said, my phone's been ringing quite a bit less in the last week over this. So I had questions, and thank you very much for answering.
Fields are closed now until the beginning of February for them to have practice. By then, we hope to have the fields practice ready, with games being ready to go in March.
Were there any significant changes to the contracts?
No, just the dates. We started 2 weeks earlier. The association wanted to start practices 2 weeks early, so that's the only dates that's been changed.
Because we're having this discussion, it might be a good time to say, a lot of this work that we are doing to make sure that long-term railroad ball fields remain. We know there have been some questions related to Porter Park 2, the Miracle Field, and what that means long-term for those ball fields. That we believe in the council's, under the council's direction, that park is very important as it sits for those activities, as well as where they are located on the east side, to make sure that we're trying to provide adequate services to all members of the community.
Okay. Any other questions on item 7 then, or comments by council? Okay. What's council's pleasure then on item 7?
Make action to approve item 7 as stated.
Do I hear a second?
No second.
Got a motion by Councilman Burris, seconded by Councilman Bilyeu, to approve the 2026 facility use agreement between the City of Sanger and the Sanger Youth Sports Association, and authorize the city manager to execute said agreement. Any other discussion? All right, all in favor indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yeah, thanks, Ryan.
Thank you,
Appreciate it. Okay, item 8 is public hearing. We're going to conduct a public hearing on amendments to Chapter 8, offenses and nuisances. 8.103, notice to abate nuisance, amending the language to include a public hearing before the municipal court and vehicle identification if available on site. I'll call the public hearing open at 7:55 and let staff introduce the item.
Yes, this is an item that came up when our code enforcement officer has been working some of his cases. We had an issue where there's some abandoned vehicles. Our attorney wanted us to put this language into our ordinance so that some new rules have changed, some new laws, so that we're following it to a T and we can still abate some of those nuisances that the homeowners don't abate.
Okay, so hearing the introduction, is there anyone who'd like to speak during the public hearing time? We'd be happy to hear from anybody. Coming to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Okay, seeing no one approaching the podium, I'll close the public hearing at 7:56. That brings us to the second public hearing, item 9, which is to conduct a public hearing on amendments to APX SR sign regulations, section 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 15 of the Code of Ordinances. We'll call this public hearing open at 7:56, and again, let staff to introduce it.
Yes, this is our sign ordinance. As we've worked through these ordinances and have used them, we've found some places that there were some gaps or there were some things that we needed to come back and correct. This is one of those areas. Sign ordinances in general are very difficult to get everything worked out. So this is one where we had prohibited LED signs. And what we discovered was by doing that, we also, all of your gas price signs, all of those kind of things are in violation. So what this part of this amendment is to come back and redefine some things to allow limited LED signs with regulation. And that's what these items do. It lays out when LEDs can be used, what's required, how big they can be, those kind of things. That way we're not in complete conflict with the ordinance.
Is there any,
We're public hearing, let's go public hearing, then we'll open it up for action. So we've got the public hearing open. Anybody wishing to speak on during the public hearing is welcome to do so now by stating your name and address for the record at the podium. Okay. Seeing no one approach, I'll close the public hearing at 7:58. That brings us to the related action items. Item 10 relates to the public hearing on 8, which is consideration of possible action or ordinance number 010726, an amendment to Chapter 8, offenses and nuisances. 8.103, Notice to abate nuisance, amending the language to include public hearing before the municipal court and vehicle identification is available on site. We've heard the introduction by staff. Is there any additional information staff needs to share? Council, do you have questions or comments?
This just came up when we were looking at some junk vehicles that were left, mainly on a lot. It began on a lot where the owner had deceased and there was no family, so that vehicle just sits there. So the city would go in and abate that, but we can't do it until we have this language in there so that we're following all of the guidelines.
Okay. Council, questions or comments on this item? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance number 01-07-26, amendment to the Chapter 8 offenses and nuisances, 8.103, notice to abate nuisance, amending the language to include a public hearing before the municipal court and vehicle identification if available on site.
Okay, I have a motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion by Councilman Bilyeu, seconded by Councilman Burris, to approve ordinance number 01-07-26, amending code chapter 8, offenses and nuisances, 8.103, as outlined in action item 10. Any other discussion of the motion?
You mentioned near the public court. Do we need to have language in there for notification, or is it going to be posted in the paper? Or?
We'll follow our normal notification guidelines like we do for zoning and variance and all of that. There is a 14-day notification. In this case...
But it doesn't need to be, that kind of language doesn't need to be in here?
I don't believe so. The attorney said this is specifically what we needed to add in there.
Your notifications for a lot of these things are a separate line within that code that covers the bulk of that code. So this language is specific to that offense, however the notification is the same for the other offenses.
Any other questions, comments? Okay. All right. All in favor of the motion to approve ordinance number 01-07-26 as presented in item 10, indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you. That brings us to item 11, which relates to the public hearing from item 9, which is consideration and possible action on ordinance number 01-05-26, amendments to APX SR sign regulations, section 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 15 of the Code of Ordinances. Again, any additional information?
No, just we've amended the definitions. A lot of those that you see in there is simply an amendment to the reference because it referenced a number, and now that we've added some things, it changed that reference number. So a lot of those changes you see in there will be change reference from this to that.
You say on section 9, it specifically states that the new exceptions do not. Are we taking that out, or is that an add?
We are taking. Are you saying
it's not clear to me what you're trying to say on that.
Okay, repeat that question again. Just so
section 9. It states all it states is specifically states that new exceptions do not apply to the downtown commercial district to protect the historic. What are the historical? Are we taking out the new? Are we taking out the exceptions, or there's?
No. Right now, any LED sign is prohibited. We're allowing some LED signs with exceptions, but those exceptions will not pertain to downtown. It will still be, LEDs will still be prohibited in the downtown area. Does that?
No, I had the same question. I was confused. Are we allowing it downtown?
No, we are not.
We are not.
We are not allowing it downtown.
So are there any businesses or anything, any signs currently that are violating this that we're wanting to restrict or eliminate?
We have, well, any LED you see in the city currently is violating it. So once we get this ordinance in place, we'll go back and weigh those signs against what the ordinance is and go from there.
Are we godfather?
What's that?
Grandfather and anything in, or is this just we're going to look at all of them and you're going to have to rip down your sign and redo it, or?
No, if they've been there for years before this ordinance or whatever, At some point, some of them's gotta be grandfathered, but we will look at anything that new that's come in. Some of them have not been permitted. Anything that's not been permitted, that will certainly gain attention because it was not, did not go through the process.
And just for me, in town right now, can you give me an example of an LED light? I'm not-
Give you examples of some signs that
Yeah,
have it.
that's
The school
presently,
district
yeah.
has a couple out on 450, the school district
The banks.
has the banks, the gas stations.
Well,
There's
QT,
one on,
The gas price,
The gas price on QT, right?
yep,
price
on
for
all the
the-
gas stations in town,
All your
yeah,
LED signs.
yeah.
So are these just freestanding signs, or I know there's one business that has one on the building itself?
It will pertain to all signs.
Okay.
Yeah, and that was the other one. There is one with that's put up a new sign that,
In the last year?
yeah, that the owner felt like, well, the owner was charged for a permit from from his company, but the company did not get the permit, so.
So like the bank's got one that
Also,
shows the temperature and, hey, have a great day, we're just gonna say, no, you can't have that, or?
No, I think they'll qualify. I think that sign will qualify under these new regulations.
So any sign that was not permitted will be looked at, and development will look at that along with the new code and the code changes to see if they can bring them into compliance. Any sign that existed under the prior code will be grandfathered in. Any sign that would have to be removed, there is a calculation that has to be used that determines the valuation of the sign, what you paid for it, how long it's been up, and all. It's just a standard formula they utilize to determine if a sign was legal and we made it illegal and it needs to come down at some point, it determines how much you pay for that sign. But there's really no signs in danger with the exception of those signs that weren't permitted. And those signs that weren't permitted will be reviewed, and if they fall within the code, they'll be allowed. If they don't fall within the code, development will work with them to determine a solution.
And you may very well see a variance request come in.
So as a city, we just do not like any LED lights?
No, I don't think that's correct.
What's the
I think we're trying to make it where it is a good balance, that we don't have flashing huge LEDs, but that in instances where LEDs are a benefit, that we have regulations that would allow them.
And the criteria for all that is?
It's in
I
this
didn't
code,
know.
it'll say it can't change more than every 8 seconds.
Yeah, where did that, is that a?
That's just kind of typical, we got with
Standard
our,
language.
I know it is for bull riding, but I don't know, I didn't know it was for.
yeah, we got with our, the people who helped us with our ordinance, we got back with them with this and brought this back to them and said, hey, here's some issues we're finding, and they helped us work through those and define some of those regulations.
Council, many of those timings have evolved over time, and they're tied to the billboard regulations that the state put down. The state has a whole set of regulations on digital billboards related to how often they can change, how bright they can be along those thoroughfares, and most cities utilize those same type timings and LED restrictions because those signs are on your thoroughfares and on your roadways. They don't want them to be a distraction to drivers. And the size of the signs are within your code are typically tied to the linear frontage of the business, just like a non-LED sign. So the only thing that is really changes is their ability to use that digital sign. And this is really ultimately a correction on our part because they were inadvertently removed under the old language.
Yeah, and this will actually help these business owners that have these signs remain compliant.
And on 15, you say 455 corridor, is that all of 455 within the city limits, or?
No, we don't apply in the city limits.
Huh?
It would only apply.
Right, but I mean,
That's-
it's the entire length of 455 in the city.
In the
limit.
city limits.
Is that considered the
Yeah,
corridor?
what is considered our 455 corridor, yes.
You have the roadway itself and then a section on either side.
Yeah, we have a sign overlay district, and it would apply throughout that entire sign overlay district.
I'm kind of surprised that the consultant didn't have or let us pull, I don't know which way it happened, LED signage, because I mean, gas station, the things that you ran into are obvious.
Yeah, they're
I was
apparent.
kind of
and they were-
surprised when I read it, I was like, how did the professional code writers leave out
That portion.
appropriate sized and brightness and timing LED?
Yes.
Yeah, that's kind of, a little bit, since
And
we
so
just
as-
went through, it's not like it was 10 years ago we went through
Right,
this.
and so as we work through these codes, those kind of things become
More
apparent when you're using them and you're like, oh, wait.
And some of that is part of our growing pains. You know, this is the first time you've had an independent sign code. Usually your sign code has been apportioned within your zoning in some way, shape, or form. That was pulled out as an independent document, which, you know, that during that review process, I'm sure that they thought we caught it in one of the other sections.
And I will tell you, just generally, sign codes are extremely difficult. I'll be honest, there's not, I mean, there's issues in every one I've ever seen.
Except for Houston.
No codes whatsoever for that.
There you go.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions on item 11? All right. Council, what's your pleasure on item 11 then?
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve item 11, consideration and possible action on ordinance number 01-05-26, amendments to APX SR sign regulations, sections 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 15 of the Code of Ordinance.
Okay, do I hear a second?
I'll second to approve.
Okay, I've got a motion by Councilman Burris, seconded by Councilman Billieu to approve ordinance number 01-05-26, amendments to APX SR sign regulations, section 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, and 15 as presented. Any other discussion? All in favor indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council.
Council, you've got future agenda items there. I know I still need to go to executive session on item 6, but before we do that and wrap up the night, any future agenda items you'd like to mention?
The canvas, you'll need to move the date of your canvas that's currently on your calendar. It's currently scheduled for May 12th. And we need to move it to May 13th, which is the very last day that the city can canvass based on Denton's request.
You're talking about canvassing the election results,
I apologize, yes, sir.
and that'll be in the evening?
It's up
It's
to
at
you
your
guys.
pleasure.
I think we've done that at around noon in the past.
We've done
But
it.
just block
We've done
off.
it at noon and we've done it at
Okay.
6 o'clock.
Would you like for us to give you ballpark? I mean, instead of you guessing, you want us to give you some times?
Yeah, if you could send times directly to Kelly, she can coordinate that as long as the date's the 13th, which is the most important
Yeah,
portion.
I'm telling you right now, I'll be free all day. So there's one. Or I'll be in town, so I can make it up here.
Okay, so May 13th, at some point, we're going to canvass the election, and council's to get with Kelly and give her any preferences, okay? And then, as of right now, I'm wide open too, so I'll put mine in, you've got mine.
Okay, thank you.
All right? I know some are at work, and so it's harder to do it in the middle of the day, so I think if others are available, I think we ought to bend toward making sure most people can be here. Yeah.
Absolutely.
All right. Any other future agenda items council wants to mention? Okay. All right, having gotten there, we will now go back up and grab item 6, which will take us into executive session. So pursuant to executive session, Texas Government Code Section 551.072, I believe is correct, for real estate. We will go into executive session related to item 6, which is agreement with DCBRE LLC Commercial Real Estate for sale of property. We will go into executive session at 8:14 p.m.
Well, I was gonna say, do you want to just go?
Ready? Okay. All right. This will call council out of executive session and into regular session at 8:35 p.m. Council, what's your pleasure on item 6 on our agenda?
Mr. Mayor, make a motion, we approve consent agenda item number 6, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with DCBRE LLC, commercial real estate for the sale of property.
I'll second.
Okay, I've got a motion by Councilman Chick, seconded by Councilman Bilyeu, to approve authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with DCBRE LLC, commercial real estate for the sale of property. All in favor of the motion indicate by raising your hand. Passes unanimously. I don't believe there's any other item we need to deal with that's on the agenda. Yes, sir, John, at all?
I do not have anything, sir.
Okay. We'll call this meeting adjourned then at 8:36 p.m.
Thank you, council.